I almost lost my life 3 times. I wasn't ready to die. So I discovered how I can save my own life. As a result, Dianne's Call Natural Living Lifestyle show was created. So let's answer the call to make our health a priority. Dianne's Call. Welcome back to Dianne's Call Natural Living Lifestyle Show. This is our second segment of South Carolina's Natural Hidden Treasures. And we're here with the beautiful, wonderful Arian King Comer, an artist that's living currently right here in Charleston, South Carolina. Again, this is one of our beautiful treasures. So, Sister Arian.
Yes.
First, I want to talk about how we met.
Okay.
Many years ago. Probably, I don't know, could be at least 15 years ago. I saw you at the Penn Center during the Heritage Festival. And you were talking about this beautiful color called indigo.
Right.
And you told me a story about the indigo and the tree, and you were talking about connections. So today we're going to talk about indigo and what that is. And so could you tell us your story, who you are, how you came to come to South Carolina, and a little bit about indigo, what it is, what it means, and what it does.
Welcome to Arian's Artist Way. And I'm Arian King Comer, and my connection that you saw when you came there on Penn's campus, my studio was Ibile Indigo House. And that means those who are messengers of the ancestors, which my Yoruba friends in Oshobo gave me that name for the place. So where you came was a place that was honoring ancestry, doing the work of indigo and what it does for Low Country, for the United States, for the universe that deals with and honors indigo. So I got there in '94 from Detroit. And from Detroit, I went to Oshobo, Nigeria, where I met Nikki Oleani. And from that, as soon as I hit the ground, she said, "You're going to follow Isaac Ojo and learn about our ancestral work of indigo." And there I was, immersed in indigo with all these people that are doing this incredible work with their hands, doing ancestry work. So for 2 days, I am watching the process of indigo based in Oshobo, Nigeria.
How long were you in Nigeria?
The first time I got there from a USIS grant with the UN. Got there, didn't want to leave, and stayed there for 3 months so that I could see the Ashon Festival, and then came back to Detroit. Was doing the indigo work. By that time it's October, and it's getting cold. And I realized, I'm done. I've got to go south. What I learned is everything's done outside. And I am from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I thought I was going there. In the meantime, I hit South Carolina because it dawned on me in Nigeria, you're going all over the world, but you haven't been south of North Carolina. And you just heard about Penn Center. And now you're knowing that South Carolina was the indigo capital of the United States. You better get yourself down there and at least see it.
Where did you come across with that piece of history that South Carolina also became
empowered for
indigo? How did you come across
Two
that?
things, and this is how my life works. It's like roads, and then one closes and you go this way. In Detroit, I had a friend, Del Pryor, who had a gallery. It was the watering hole for all of us artists. Her daughter had come to South Carolina to do Daughters of Dust. So she's telling me and telling us, anyone who's listening, about the experience that she had with the Gullah people and how they were moving around at night with the moon, and how gracious they were, and just she started explaining about their, how she enjoyed and embraced being in the Sea Islands. And she's telling me the story of Daughters of Dust. So I'm aware of it. I'm aware of Julia Dash then in Detroit. I saw a documentary on PBS that's called Kindred Spirits, where I had already seen Nikki Oleani, and she was doing the Indigo. So here come these threads that you wind together, and I'm thinking, and then I get this grant to go to Nigeria. And I take the film, Daughters of Dust, with me and show it to the artists that I'm living with, and they start making the connections and telling me the influence of Africa to what they're seeing in that film. That's why you saw me coming this way. It's like, okay. And then I started doing the research and then recognizing what had happened in South Carolina with Indigo. In other words, just in being curious and understanding, how did this happen is how I found this out.
The spirit. You were following your spirit.
Right, right. Then I started seeing the connection of the Gullah artists that are here. All of them do their work under trees. All of them take care of their kids while they're doing the work under trees. That is the primary daycare system. Elders teaching the young while they're doing the craft. That's what I had already seen in Nigeria and Oshobo, and it's like, I'm home. I gotta be here. Because I had been armed with what to do as an artist in Detroit, I had no fear that I knew no one. It didn't matter. What I wanted is to be with these Gullah people that are doing this work of their ancestry. They're doing it under trees. I'm seeing the sweetgrass people on the road, and I'm watching the product. I'm seeing bateau makers making boats under trees. I'm seeing quilters, grandmothers teaching their grandchildren how to do quilting under trees. I thought, if they can do this. And then there was a red piano there, which was a watering hole in St. Helena. I thought, I can do this. Because what I'm after is water and trees and doing my work.
So let's talk about what the color is and some of the things that you do with indigo.
A couple of things. Again, all of this is research as I'm coming along. I see the indigo in Nigeria. I know the power of indigo because I'm in graduate school at Cranbrook in Michigan, so I'm aware. And then I get to go to Nigeria and see how it's processed. In research, I find out there are 32 different kinds of indigo in the world. The one that's in Oshobo, the leaf is large and it's the consistency of tobacco leaf. It goes underground, grows up, underground, grows up, and it just grows that way. The indigo there, they take the leaf and they pound it and they put it in water with the ash of cocoa shell. And with the heat, it ferments to blue. Backing up again, I found out that they're using indigo to honor ancestry because it's a natural phenomena that from a leaf, something turns blue. Backing up again, I realized that's also what they do in India, China, all of those places that do indigo, and I'm like, and they're all honoring ancestry. So then you realize, then I'm checking in the differences in the different leaves, but they all have the same property. Put it in water with ash and heat, it ferments and turns blue. Naturally, there's something that is green turning to blue. That's a phenomenon.
And now, do you grow the plant, or how do you get the indigo?
I became Johnny Appleseed. They, as soon as they heard my story and they saw my passion, they said, "Here, take these seeds."
Who said that?
His name was Dr. Cox. At the time, he's not there now. And I came with one plant and seeds. And I went, by this time I am now living in St. Helena. And I'm like this passionate, Johnny Appleseed. It's like telling the farmers, if I give you these, we can grow indigo. Well, Penn Center had done it in the 70s, and and they had done everything actually that they grew in Africa in the 70s. But here I come in the 90s, and I know I need to do this indigo work. So I'm like going to all the neighbors, Gullah people, going, hey, got these seeds. And they, sure enough, I got 8 farmers to grow the indigo. And it is, and then the history of it is you don't have to do anything. It's the climate, it's the dank humidity. Those in historical times, they didn't have to do anything, just put the seed in the ground. And it just grew 7 feet tall. And so all plantations during that time, all plantations were growing indigo in South Carolina. It wasn't about, let's do this beautiful blue cloth here. They wanted to do and raise the indigo and take it back on the ships to the area, to the countries that actually sponsored indigo, so that they can have a bumper crop of indigo to do uniforms and whatever in Europe. That was the main purpose. It wasn't about what was going to happen here in South Carolina. In fact, they weren't doing it for that purpose here at all. It was to sell it, to raise money for the countries that sponsored. So that's Italy, Portugal, Spain, for sure, England. And that's what they were doing. So that's what the plantations were doing.
What's the holistic aspect of indigo?
Well, when you think about it, all ancestral places, all of those countries that used indigo and honoring ancestor, they were after honoring the third eye. So in that, their work was not about money. It was honoring their ancestry and the power of this right here, the third eye. In ancestral memory, in knowing that that is where we are going to get our wisdom. And it's like that connection of ancestral with today. And when you're going the chakra colors, when you're talking about your soul, your mind, it's here. And that color's blue. So once they found this from the earth, it's turning green from the earth, and it's blue. All countries that have indigo understood that. So you look at the kimonos, you look at the bubas that they wove for the kings and kings really, in for sure Nigeria, in Ghana, in Mali, they went for indigo blue.
So now it's coming back to me, because I remember when we first met, I kept hearing something about a connection from Africa and South Carolina, and I knew it was indigo, and I've held on to that story forever, ever, and ever. So let's talk about connections, because as you're talking, and you're saying blue, and I did a little research on indigo. They said it's one of the colors in the rainbow, and they said it's also, I guess you would say, with the purple grapes, which is the deep kind of blue color.
Now, you know, that's interesting. In history, and I don't quite get that, indigo is not anything about blue. So I mean purple. So I don't, I know that though, I hear that. But what I know about indigo, and you'll see it because the cloth that I'm going to do is going to be green when I put it in the dye.
The indigo?
Yep.
Okay.
When I pull it up, it's going to be green. In the oxygen, you're going to see it turn blue.
Thank you so much for that wonderful information.
My pleasure.
And we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to watch the process of her taking some beautiful material and making indigo, which is blue. We'll be right back.
You have a vision. Everyone does, which is a start. But sometimes we just need a little help bringing that vision into a reality. Call Reel to Reel Productions, the premier multimedia production studio. Here, we can help you form, shape, and create a video that you can display to the world. They will direct, produce, film, and edit your TV commercial, promotional video, TV show, or live event. Reel to Reel can do it all. Exceeding industry standards, Reel to Reel will see to it that your vision is produced in the highest quality possible. What can we create for you? Everyone has a vision. Make yours real today.
Welcome back to Dianne's Call Natural Living Lifestyle Show. We're going to get to see the process of Ariane taking this beautiful cloth and making indigo.
This is yardage of white cotton. I put it in the indigo. You see the green? That's because it's coming from a leaf. All indigo dye looks like this when in the process.
That is green.
Yep. And you're going to see in oxygen, it's going to turn blue. It's turning.
We're going to get to see this right before our very eyes. Live
It's turning
in color.
blue.
Literally in color. And so what are your plans for this piece?
I have a request to do symbolic pillows. And so I knew I needed yardage. I do quilts and wearable art and interior design.
You said wearable art?
Yep, I do take these designs and I collage them in pieces to wear.
And how can someone who wants something made, want you to make it, how do we find you? How do we reach you?
Go to my website, which is how people have found me, and there is a link that we communicate that has my email, my phone number, and then we connect and you tell me your story of what you need and I manifest it from what I hear from you.
So tell me some of maybe the people you've designed for. I see it turning blue over there.
Yes, it is. If you remember Gullah Gullah Island, which is with Ron Days and Natalie Days, I did probably 6 garments for them. That was when I first got here. And that's sort of how my mom is a mezzo-soprano, and in it I used to do garments for her colleagues. Either journals when they're poets, or ensembles for them to wear.
So this is green and it's going in the indigo and it's going to be blue.
Yep. Well, I use the technique of batiking. It's an ancient technique done actually in Egyptian time, and it's very popular in Japan and China, India, using the hot wax with stamps or freehand to block a design into the cloth. And that resistive wax allows the design to stay. And wherever that design isn't, the dye color comes in. So you could only see all the green in this, even though it was with wax design. And when it turns indigo blue, you will see where the wax was will stay the green and everything else will turn blue.
And how long does it take, will it take these pieces to dry or be complete?
The good part about South Carolina, which is a lot like Africa, is it dries as fast as the warmth of the day. So when I'm doing workshops and it's a beautiful South Carolina day, we go through a color an hour because it dries. As soon as it dries, we can go back in and do more to it.
Now we're in the studio to showcase some of the beautiful pieces that she has and some of the artwork. We have pillows and the first quilt that she's ever made and some lampshades and this beautiful garment here that can be worn 8 different ways.
Right.
So Irene, could you explain to us about the pieces and give us a little history on this. Is beautiful.
All my pieces, everything you see started white. So the batik technique is, I can share with this piece. That yellow that you see and the turquoise, that was what I put in it first in a tie-dye method. And then I use my stamps to save that color. And then I went, as you can see, in red. Wherever I put the wax, that color can't go in. That color that was yellow first is saved with the wax, and the turquoise is saved. Even though red's going to it next, it won't take it because I have the wax there. That's the technique of batik. So everything here, this was white.
This was white.
Right, all white. I tie-dyed the turquoise and the pink colors. I hand did the wax design of flowers, knowing that I was going to put it in red. So I knew, let me save this, make it look like a flower, and then I just dropped it in the red. And the resist, that making the flower pattern, stays. This too was white. Then I saved, and I drew all the drawing in the wax, which made it white. Then I put it in yellow and did all the leaves and wax, and then I put it in turquoise. It made it turn green. And I knew that I needed brown, so I then dropped the whole thing in red.
Okay. So we have this pillow.
Same technique. That's a Yoruba design, and that's based on spirituality and natural designs in nature. And that's how they come up with their designs. This piece also is from nature. It's like what you're wearing.
And this piece right here, it was completely white when you started.
Right.
And were any of these symbols or artwork on it?
No.
Everything is original.
Right. And this was done, this is my meditation. I have no idea what I'm going to do. When I'm looking at this, it comes. I have already sewn it up knowing this is a Rwanda, which is what you're wearing. And in this white, I just go through and cut it up or do the designing of the square. Actually, I don't do all the squares first. I start right here. Do that and decide. Do that, then decide. And I go through each one of these, going up the fabric until I have finished this whole piece, using this to create the shapes in hot wax.
So now can you show us the outside? We actually want to see the plant.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Let's go outside. So Ariane, we're here finally with the infamous indigo tree.
Right.
Well, you said it's a tree, it's a bush, it's a plant, but it's going to grow 7 feet tall.
In South Carolina, around this time, if it were just in the farmer's mode, this would be 7 feet tall.
In the farm.
By now,
Okay.
in any of the plantations.
And so earlier you were talking about the seeds, and so
Right.
I see seeds here.
Right. So this was a salmon flower, and in this fall it starts doing this. So these were salmon. You can see it's turning now into a seed that's going to look like this, because it knows that all of this is going to die and it's saving itself. What they have done historically is taken these, each of these pod has like pepper seeds, and each seed is a new plant. So in March, they put this back in the ground right ahead of our rainy season that goes for 40 days, and it will bring itself up, it'll grow again, but mind you, that many. So a plantation is based on the seeds that come out of that pod.
So when will you actually pull this off?
I could actually pull these off now. There's some green ones that I would have to wait. Yeah.
So you would pull this off, you split it open and get the little pods
I
out?
put the whole pod in the
You just
in
put the
ground.
whole pot in the ground, and then eventually you get
this again. The thing about the property of this, these leaves are the dye. If I mash this, it's going to turn blue. So the property of the indigo is in the leaf. So they actually, I'll do one, shuck this off like that, and they put this in the water. In South Carolina, it's with lye. In Nigeria, they pound this in a ball and put it in ash water. and let the water ferment and it turns blue. So with this, I have honored again the color of blue for ancestry, but it came from my research knowing that from the enslaved and folklore, you use the bottle tree, and if you look at the Daughters of Dust, there is a tree in there with multicolors, but the whole premise of it is to take the evil spirits, lock them in, let the light go through, and it changes to good spirits. At sunset, you'll see a glow of blue that just goes across this ground. So for me, it is protecting my home with good spirits from the blue of indigo. I've done 11 trees in Charleston, and one of them is at the Avery Institute.
Arian, thank you again so much for the history lesson, for the science lesson, and for the lesson about our ancestors. I appreciate it so much.
My pleasure.
Up next is my spicy bite.
You have a vision. Everyone does, which is a start. But sometimes we just need a little help bringing that vision into a reality. Call Reel to Reel Productions, the premier multimedia production studio. Here, we can help you form, shape, and create a video that you can display to the world. They will direct, produce, film, and edit your TV commercial, promotional video, TV show, or live event. Reel to Reel can do it all. Exceeding industry standards, Reel to Reel will see to it that your vision is produced in the highest quality possible. What can we create for you? Everyone has a vision. Make yours real today.
Welcome back to Dianne's Call Natural Living Lifestyle Show. This is one of the favorite parts of the show, the spicy bite. And what do I have this time? The luscious, beautiful colored blueberries. So versatile. You can, of course, use them in a smoothie. The best thing about blueberries is that you can freeze them. Now, they're naturally grown in South Carolina, and I love to pick them. I've taken a lot of people out to pick them, especially when they weren't feeling very well. We go out, pick, and eat some blueberries, and guess what? They're feeling better. It's so good. So if you want to have good memory and have beautiful skin, this is the fruit that you want to eat. It's the number 2 purchased berry in the United States. Low in calories. Again, excellent vitamin C. I know you can tell I'm just eating them. They're so good. And you can also use them as a pie filling. Thanks again for joining Dianne's Call Natural Living Lifestyle Show. Yummy.